1. Mermaid in a Volkswagen. The only thing keeping Sophia afloat in the back seat of her mom's run-down red Volkswagen was the knowledge that soon she and the sea would finally meet face to face. This didn't cheer her up exactly, but it did make her smile a little. Her mom, Raquel, drove in silence, cigarette in mouth, cumbia music blasting on the car radio. She'd come home from work last night exhausted, then woken up today in a foul mood. She half managed to put up her hair in a ponytail, but hadn't bothered with makeup. That's how Sophia knew to keep her mouth shut. Now wasn't the time to cause trouble. Even though causing a little trouble would be a reasonable response to your mom sending you to live with a grandmother you barely know. Sophia turned to the window and sighed loudly. She was hot, and the seats were sticky, and a mix of anxiety and car sickness made it feel like a cast of red crabs swarmed inside her stomach. The car zoomed past palm trees lining the highway headed toward Bahia. She tried to pass the time by tracing fish on the car window, but she quickly grew bored. Semi-trucks passed one after another, shaking the Volkswagen and further stoking Raquel's foul mood. For the first time that day, Sophia really wanted to burst into tears. One of the swarming crabs traveling inside her stomach crawled up and netted itself in her throat. Raquel saw Sophia's reflection in the rearview mirror and offered a smile. Sophia couldn't bring herself to smile back. She tried to, but Raquel wasn't the only one in a bad mood. Exasperated, Raquel just turned up the radio. More cumbias. Sophia then tried to pass the time by talking to the sea. Not out loud, though, in case Raquel could hear her over the radio. Although they'd never met in person, the sea and the girl were already well acquainted, had been speaking to each other even before Sophia knew its name was Sea and that she was a mermaid. Yes, a mermaid. Being a mermaid is kind of a big deal. Sophia had discovered her true identity one day in science class after seeing images of a baby in its mother's stomach. Those images left her no doubt that before birth, we're all basically mermaids. Being in utero is like breathing underwater after all, right? It's not like human reproduction was a mystery to Sophia. She knew just as much about that as her classmates did. Maybe others required more scientific evidence before reaching the same conclusions as Sophia, but she could see what others couldn't. It's all in how you look at things, really. The way Sophia saw it, you could live one of two ways. You could live on dry land, hiding at night among rooftop clotheslines, or you could be up on that rooftop pretending you're a mermaid. But not everyone enjoys seeing things from a different point of view. In fact, some people are so stuck in their ways, they just can't. Sophia's science teacher, for example, who warned her that unless she wanted to fail the next test, she'd better not dare even mention anything remotely related to mermaids. Still, every night, Sophia snuck up to the rooftop with her science book and a flashlight. Hiding among the damp sheets on the clothesline, she studied the image of the baby mermaid asleep in its bubble and thought about how much that tiny sea must have taught Sophia before she was even born. But that sea had not told her how to remember all the answers it gave her. A shame, really, because a 10-year-old has so many questions. Basic questions like, what type of fish is my mother? We're all a kind of fish, aren't we? At least Sophia thought so. Take her science teacher, for instance. When she sneezed, spraying the air with 1,000 saliva droplets, Sophia was reminded of a whale slowly gliding through the ocean. She could just about picture water spouting off the top of her head. Of course, not all sea creatures are good company. It's one thing to swim alongside a whale, or even a blowfish, and another thing entirely to face up